86, I think, some off-the-wall figures.
And nobody would play him because they didn't want to take a chance of getting beat. But the truth of it is,
over 46,000 tickets. Blacks were sitting in the east stands. Whites were sitting in the west stands. And the score wound up 34-28.
The only thing we proved that we wasn't inferior, that we were not inferior, and we were not afraid.
For one night, for 160 minutes, we was better than them.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being hurt.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Q Time is our classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Good day, good people. Once again, Grumpy Old Nerds back in your ear. How's everybody doing out there today? Be careful in these COVID streets. You got me, your boy Black Thunder, undercover. For real, it's Uncle John. Uncle John in your ear. You've got the red bone assassin, Uncle DJ.
That's right. That's right.
You've got Captain Armchair, Uncle Percy.
Pow!
And as always, behind the ones and twos, we got Uncle Roy. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey.
Everybody all right today?
Hello.
Oh, cool. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the most astounding news that has come down the pike in a long time. You know, the year 2020 has been pretty much a train wreck from start to finish. But I guarantee you the news that you're about to hear right now, you may have already heard about it, but it is the most exciting news, some of the most optimistic news,
Oh my God.
some of the best stuff that you heard in the longest time. So apparently, Sony Pictures has signed Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina, and Jamie Foxx to the next live-action Spider-Man film. Now,
don't forget about Kirsten Dunst
and Kirsten Dunst, and also the other little skinny white girl. I forget her name, but I would be remiss if I've forgotten all the skinny white girls' names.
That's right.
But
Marissa
this means that Sony is trying to bring back a version of the animated Into the Spider-Verse film.
Live action.
Now, Into the Spider-Verse, many of us geeks and nerds would say is probably the single best Spider-Man film, live action or animated, across the platform, across the board. Spider-Man Into the Spider, and can I tell you, when it initially came out, I was like, no, I ain't going to see that nonsense. Why they got all these Spider-Man? Why can't they just give us a straight Spider-Man story? But Into the Spider-Verse was such a fantastic film, just in terms of the casting, in terms of the plot, the voice actors were on point. Everything about this film was great.
Yep.
And it told a real Spider-Man story. I'm not even gonna lie. If I may digress, when Miles Morales' line of comics came out and he was first introduced as a character, I never really made the correlation between him losing his uncle and Peter Parker losing his uncle. So I was a little slow on the uptake with that. But that even shows you how deeply they've connected between the Miles Morales and the Peter Parker characters. So we're looking at 3 Spider-Men. You're looking at Dr. Octopus. You're looking at Electro. You're looking at Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane. And not only that, 2 versions of Mary Jane, because you've still got Zendaya from the Tom Holland universe.
Yes, Zendaya's back.
And not to mention, they've also got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange in the film.
They do.
Now, my only point of concern is that when these big movie executives make these superhero films, they tend to overpack it and put too much in it. I look at the Batman films when they went from, I'm talking about the old Batman films with Michael Keaton, where they went from Jack Nicholson as the Joker, who carried the film as the villain by himself, to having like 7 different villains all in the movie.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you were talking about the cult classic, the one with the sharks and the bat boat.
The bat shark repellent.
The bat shark repellent. And you had Catwoman, you had the Penguin, you had
the Joker and the Riddler.
Yes,
you had
everybody.
You had everybody in that film. No, although that example lends credence to my point. But I don't want them to mess this up. And it seems like they finally have a handle on the character of Spider-Man itself. Again, my only concern, I think this is too soon, just trying to put all these characters in one film and because it can't be anything more than just a glorified cameo. Because here comes Auntie Nicole too. If you can't.
Nicole. Wait a minute, is it a real picture or is it the same stock photo?
Oh Lord. Auntie Nicole, I sincerely hope that you show your face, because if not, Uncle DJ gonna talk about you. Yeah, it's gonna be a picture.
She's gonna jump out. She's gonna jump out.
Picture. Can you see me?
No, we can't see you.
No.
You should be able to.
Oh, okay. Well, Auntie Nicole, hold on one second. You fix that while
I finish your remiss.
Point. Yeah, she is. Hey, Auntie Nicole.
Hey.
So my trepidation for having too many characters in the Spider-Man film is overlapped by my joy at seeing so many of these characters, because let's be honest, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. But to be able to bring these other characters and other actors and all these different multiverse, because of course this is going to, Marvel always has a plan no matter what they do. Of course, this will lead into the next Doctor Strange film, which is in the Multiverse of Madness, which also connects to the Scarlet Witch and Vision TV show that's coming out in January. So you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on that's just, Marvel. It's nice to know, if nothing else, that Marvel during this pandemic, if we all stuck in the house, Marvel was stuck in the house like, how can we make these fanboys geek out? What are you going to say?
So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I can.
Why are you still wearing your mask?
He needs to.
Because I don't want to be around people I don't know. But go ahead.
But here's the issue with that. This is actually just Sony, because Sony is actually trying to create their own Spider-Verse overall with all of the Spider-Man stuff that they're doing. They really want to rival Marvel, but the way that the deal works is that they're still able to work together.
Well, that's the thing. If you've got Doctor Strange, then Marvel is a part of this. And Marvel has dibbled and dabbled, and Marvel has allowed Sony, well, not Marvel has allowed Sony, but Sony has allowed Marvel to give some input into what they're doing.
Cox has apparently been approved. He's been confirmed too.
Who is?
Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
Oh, really?
Matt Murdock, yeah.
So you've got but now, now that's too many people. That's a lot of people coming in.
Wait a minute, we didn't just come up off of the Infinite Wars with 82 people, in the cast. I think Marvel's capable of pulling it off.
Well, okay.
So John, let me ask you this, John. Let me ask this question.
Right.
So, do you feel that they're going too fast? Like, they basically got all the villains in there. The only one they're missing is the Vulture, and then you got the Sinister Six.
Well, if the Vulture, and if you remember correctly, at the end of the second Tom Holland movie, the Vulture, Michael Keaton, ran into the guy who eventually becomes the Scorpion. Right. So now it seems like they're building towards something else as well. And like Roy said, to Roy's point, they are trying to build the Spider-Man, not just that is a part of Marvel, but Sony can claim as their own. Right. It's a master stroke in terms of business sense. I give Marvel and Sony that. Sony was wise to say, you know what, Marvel, we'll share this, and this will build our platform so that going forward, because we still got Morbius coming out as well.
Right.
And all these, you got a rich wellspring of Spider-Man characters that Sony can say, okay, we're a part of the Marvel universe, but we're still over in our own little corner. So kudos to Sony. They're doing the right thing. So yes, in a world of nonsense, Spider-Man is coming to save us, which is always cool. So
and Wonder Woman.
Oh, you know what? And I gotta say this. What do y'all think about the fact that HBO Max is releasing all of their films on not HBO
Warner
Max,
Brothers.
Warner Brothers is releasing all of their films on HBO Max.
Well, come from a brother who's got
crazy.
HBO Max, I love it.
Right.
Absolutely. I have it too. So I'm already paid for Wonder Woman.
like Christmas Day, we gonna sit up and eat breakfast and watch Wonder Woman 1984.
Wonder Woman all day long.
Yes, indeed.
So do y'all have to pay extra for those movies?
Nope.
Nope. My HBO Max, Warner Brothers basically said, you know what? Fuck it. Next year, we're not even gonna take that chance. Everything coming out is going to be on HBO Max.
Which is a genius move, because that's going to draw people in to go ahead and get HBO Max, because that was the whole point. Because I was only getting HBO like when the Game of Thrones was on, or when something else, Lovecraft Country was on. And then, you ready to get rid of it. And that's what I was doing. I was only getting it for the stuff I want to see. But then now I'm hearing all these extra movies and stuff coming out. I'm like, okay, I might, go ahead and just keep it going for a little bit, and that's how they're going to make their money.
I think Warner Brothers is rolling the dice, because they know they're going to go back in the movie theaters in about 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Vaccine stuff gets
well,
out.
no. everything that's coming out on Max is coming out at the theaters on the same day.
But the theaters are now open.
Some of
It's
them
going to be
are.
mostly
There's a lot of
international
theaters
theaters.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. John's down in Atlanta. They probably got all kinds of stuff open down there. You know, here in Chicago, everything's shut down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, you know, here in Chicago, everything's
It's
shut
mostly
down.
international stuff that they were talking about, because I was reading an article on it, and they were saying that when they open it up, because US is still kind of staying closed, honestly, it's going to be the rebel movie theaters, so to speak, that would open, you know, so they're taking a risk. But internationally, a lot of theaters is going to be open, so we're going to get it the same time, but you do get the comfort of sitting at home watching it.
So quick poll. Quick poll. Would any of you go to a movie theater right now?
Why not? Why would I go when I could stay at home and watch it?
Well, I told you guys that the AMC theaters allow you to, you know, have a private theater to yourself and you and your people.
Yeah.
Right. But if I pay for HBO, why would I go when I can sit at the house?
Right.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, if you want a big screen and like a handful of your friends, you know, I mean, you get 5 or 6 people and you pay $20 a piece, and you got it up on the big screen. You know, it's.
Or you could do it old school NFL day, you know, Super Bowl day, like everybody do, and go buy the 80-inch screen, watch it at home with your friends, and then turn around and return it to the store.
Wow.
That's what people did.
Wow.
A lot of people do it.
Nicole, I didn't know you were grimy like that, girl. I got a whole new respect for you.
See,
a lot of people have done it. I kid you not. About the years,
That's beautiful.
man.
Go ahead, girl.
Wow.
The 30-day return window.
You want to do what?
I still want to go to the theater.
I mean, out in a perfect world, I would like to go to a theater, but I'm gonna be honest. In the last 9 months, I've really gotten used to just sitting in the house. So I got a big enough TV and a captive audience with my wife and my kids. So I'll watch Wonder Woman 1980.
I got a 52-inch. I'm good.
Like when they announced it, I was like, "Ooh, we have Christmas breakfast and watch Wonder Woman." That sounds like a deal.
And jammies and everything, and you can continue making all those sounds and smells that you was talking about on Facebook.
And I ain't got to worry about my feet sticking to the floor and none of that.
You don't think Warner Brothers already done the projection? Like, okay, we'll give this one out, but in 2020, let's say Christmas 2021 into 2022, we start sending out these other movies coming out. We're gonna make our money back.
Oh, they're gonna make their money.
They're gonna make their money.
Yeah,
they're not stupid. They just like
and theaters do re-releases all the time.
Right. We can't wait to. We can't hold. And basically, what it was, we can't hold on Wonder Woman because right behind that, you know, we about to release
The Suicide Squad, yeah.
Suicide Squad and all this other stuff. So and then everybody still is talking about Justice League again.
Yep.
So they're making their money. They just like, okay, this is
and that's going to be like a 4-week event,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing is HBO's not stupid, and they got loot.
Right.
So you know, and just the sheer amount of millions of people that are going to sign up, you take that money and you recoup, you know, whatever you paid to Warner for this deal.
Yeah.
For the long run, it's going to be worth it. You know.
Yeah. I just think that I'm looking at the entire picture of it because there are a lot of some of the other movie studios and some of the talent in Hollywood have lashed out at HBO Max for doing this. But at the end of the day, you know, you're looking at people will want to come. Wonder Woman was supposed to come out this past summer. Yeah. They've got to push that out because they've got other stuff that they're trying to build on top of that. So that's a product that they have to move.
I'm sorry, but these actors and directors got paid. They already got paid for this stuff.
That's my point too. They got to make that money back.
But when you are a true artist, you want your film to be seen in the form in which you created it. And that's on the big screen in the theater with a bunch of dirty people sitting next to you.
I'm sorry. I thought you were speaking for Chef Aquarius there for a second.
Look, you know what? Chef Aquarius is going to have his own TV show in a minute. Y'all tripping. There's going to be a Chef Aquarius channel on YouTube. You
Oh
tripping.
my gosh.
So,
It's not, no.
Something that says that there are Tobey Maguire set photo leaks.
oh, okay. No, Toby, don't set no photo leaks. I want all this to be
Right.
brand new. I don't want to see none of that. I don't want no spoilers. I don't want no set leaks.
Yeah.
Jamie already told us he ain't going to be blue in this version of Electro. And I think it's genius that they're bringing back Dr. Octopus, because at the end of that Spider-Man film, it's really ambiguous as to what really happened to him.
Oh, Doc Ock is the man.
Yeah. But
And
although
Alfred Molina, he played him really well.
He did. Although I think Doc Octopus is probably one of the weakest Spider-Man villains. But before we go down that rabbit hole, part of the reason that we have Auntie Nicole on today, we are going to dive head first, knee first, feet, hands, everything into that which is the Mandalorian. And I
got my baby behind me.
I'm going to prove to all parties involved by the end of this conversation that the Mandalorian is just okay. It's not a good TV show. That is my guarantee to you, gentle viewer. That is what I am going to explain. So with the latest episode of The Mandalorian, we discovered that the child, and I refuse to call him Baby Yoda because he's not a Yoda. His name ain't Yoda. We've discovered his name. His name is Goo Goo Gaga, something like that.
Grogu.
Grogu. Okay, so we find out that the child.
Say his name.
Okay,
his name is Grogu.
Before the Empire take him out?
Wait a minute now.
Uh-oh, hold on.
Wait a minute. Before we say it's a he, in the last episode, didn't somebody say she? Like
I
she
didn't hear
goes,
No.
I don't know.
I didn't hear that.
Maybe that was a Percyism. I don't know.
No,
but
that's a Percyism. Nobody
You think Giancarlo Esposito said it?
Yeah, I think when he was in the prison.
When he told her to let her, did he say let her sleep or something?
Let her sleep.
We can replay that right now. Let me bring that up.
I swore he said let her sleep.
Let me take a look here.
Oh my God!
He didn't say nothing about her.
I swore he said let her sleep. Maybe I was hearing stuff.
No, Baby Goo Goo is a boy. We're not going to even go down that road. Baby Goo Goo is a boy. So
okay,
we got the baby with the name. We've got this character who was in the cartoons that I never really paid attention to. What's Rosario Dawson's character's name?
Rosario Dawson.
Sakatano.
Clone Wars.
Sakotano.
Sakotano. Okay.
She was.
Sock it to me.
Sock it to me.
Sock it to me.
She was what?
Anakin Skywalker's Padawan.
That's congratulations. Gesundheit. Well, okay.
I don't care what anybody says. Sakatano was always black. She may be a little orange, but like light-skinned girls like me, we'll make a comeback someday, but she's the equal medium.
Wait, hold on. Right. Hey, we're not going to just go past that statement.
We got two light-skinned people next to each other.
You said when light-skinned girls come back.
We make a comeback one day.
Okay.
Hey, Nicole. Nicole, I'm in the same boat.
No, I've heard that the light-skinned brothers were sneaking back in the first place, but I never heard that the light-skinned sisters were all the way out. That's what happened.
It's only in the deep south do we matter.
Lord have mercy. Okay, before we go down that rabbit hole. Okay, so we've got the cartoon character has come to life. We've got the Baby Goo Goo has a name. So here's my thing. Okay, I find it hard to root for the Mandalorian because as a character, he has no face, he has no emotions. He's just there. He's just and he's got armor that does everything, which is a MacGuffin of the highest order. You've got a character who has no emotional expressions, who has no face, who has this magical armor that resists blaster fire. And by the way, stormtroopers are the worst enemy. If I lived in the Empire, I wouldn't be scared of no storm. All I have to do is pick up a stick and hit a stormtrooper. I don't have to worry about their armor because it's basically it's the plastic that it looks like it's made of on TV.
Well,
Right.
It's you want to understand too, like
no, Nicole, you can't.
No, but listen though. This is the thing. This is what you have to understand. It's just like anything else, where they have to give you the gradual progression of every character on the show. When The Mandalorian started, he said maybe throughout a whole show of 30 or 40 minutes, 19 words, maybe, if even that. Now you're starting to get expressions. You're starting to hear it. You're starting to hear the emotion. You're starting to hear the complex things that are happening that he's used to dealing with, that he's no longer used to dealing with anymore. There's things happening, and it's going to bring a progression. Because remember, the Mandalorians, you have different factions of the Mandalorians.
Right.
So now you have someone that is dealing with the fact that, oh, wow, there's like all these different subgroups of what I am. So now he's not like the original Mandalorians. They was no joke. They just went around and that's how Jango came to be Jango, because they had them come out there and end up killing his family, and Jaster Muriel ended up saving him. And then they just keep this whole progression. That's why they have a soft spot for like orphans and things like that.
So the Mandalorians are like black people. You got the Hoteps, you got the Muslims, you got the 5%ers.
There you go.
You got all these
different, right? You got all these different factions,
subgenres. But okay, but my point is that with the Mandalorian and the Baby Goo as the two main characters, who am I supposed to root for with this? Because let me finish my point. Because you've got the Mandalorian who is taking the slow road toward actually being a person, and you've got Baby Goo who eats babies. Now let me tell you something about Baby Goo.
See, that's where we got. Hold
on. Let me talk about. Let me tell you about your baby. He's eating babies. Now, say what you will about Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, and any other Darth out there. They didn't eat no babies.
He ate an egg.
Unfertilized eggs.
You ain't never had an egg before?
I eat eggs all the time. You ain't seen my folks. I got
I
got 1,000 eggs in my refrigerator right now.
So you eat babies?
But I cooked them. I didn't eat them. I didn't put them. I put the whole egg in my mouth.
Hey, bodybuilders eat raw eggs. Eat raw eggs at times.
That's
what I'm saying? When you bake a cake, you scramble the eggs up in there.
And we don't know if Goo is going to be good or bad, because at this point they said that, didn't Rosario say that he still needs to find his way? Well,
that's the whole thing. That's the part that leads up to this, because at this point, both the Mandalorian and Grogu they've come to this impasse. They're at the fork in the road now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To where they're trying to figure out who they are as people. The Mandalorian has come from being this just rigid, Death Watch type of Mandalorian to recognizing, okay, sometimes I'm gonna need somebody's help. Sometimes I'm gonna need to be able to have a team. Sometimes I'm gonna need to soften up just a little bit and things like that to do the things he needs. Now, Grogu, remember, this is a 50-year-old child. This ain't we see him as a baby, but he's 50. So at this point, he is coming into a thing, because remember, Yoda's species, like Yoda lived to like 900 something years old. So, Grogu is at a point of in his development period. So right now, if you ask me, yes, he has some dark side tendencies. I mean, good grief. He tried to force choke, what's her name, Kara and whatnot, and different things like that. So there's things that he needs to be trained on. He only had training but so long before everything went haywire. So we really don't know even who his trainer was. For all we know, his trainer might have been somebody in the dark side. It might have been somebody in the light side. Either way, we still need to see that progression.
And
that's why Esposito wanted to see what it was he was doing when he was forcing those stormtroopers around. He wanted to see this kid in action. He wanted to see what kind of power he had, so he knows what he's dealing with.
Okay, can I ask a question? I'm not sure. Can someone plainly define to me what a Jedi can do? Because you've got them throwing people across the room. You got the force choke. You got the lightning. You've got Princess Leia, who flew through space and stayed alive.
Somebody, that part we all are on.
Somebody explain to me everything.
I thought you were a Star Wars fan.
I said I'm not. I said I am not a Star Wars historian. I watched the movies. I've seen 10 films. Is it 9, 10? I've seen 11 films. I have not watched any of the cartoons, and I watched The Mandalorian.
Well,
so
you
I
understand.
So John, you should be able to put this all together. You watch all 10 movies because basically
half the movies were bad.
This last episode kind of steers you into figuring out what's about to happen next. Because just like Nicole said, the Mandalorian is now, he's saying, okay, you're right. I can't do this by myself. Sometimes I'm gonna need help from this one person. Like he went back to ask, what's that girl's name? Because I love her. Right, went back for help to find out find this guy for, so he can break him out to help them do it. And then in the first 3 episodes, the fraction of the Mandalorians, that one lady who's like, do he still got the dark saber? Remember, he pulled it out.
Yeah,
right. He pulled it out at the end because I'm like, you could tell that he can't control that dark saber. He don't have the force like baby Google got, because there's something about that black saber. There's something about that black saber,
dark saber,
the dark saber that because remember, old girl's like, he still got it. That's mine.
And that is a history behind that too, because the dark saber was brought about by the Mandalorians.
Right.
They actually have.
Right, so
I'm sorry, it's not the black saber.
That's the dark saber.
Right, that's gonna
that's the Chef Aquarius coming out. I'm sorry, it's not the black saber.
So that's gonna be another side story right there, and that's probably gonna end up.
Put it like this. The dark saber, believe it or not, was even wielded by Darth Maul. You see what I'm saying? The thing is that when it comes to a Jedi, you can think about it. Even the Sith have Jedi powers. It's just in how you decide to use it. You know what I'm saying? You have people on both sides. That's why Yoda. Think about it. The Jedi Temple that they had in episodes 1, 2, and 3. If you knew the lore, that Jedi Temple was built on top of a Sith temple. Okay, so the dark side was always there. So you have both sides. The thing is what Yoda was trying to explain was that he was wrong the whole time. Yoda explained that they all tried to avoid the dark side and so on like that by suppressing feelings, suppressing this and suppressing that. And when you saw Anakin have his old, the whole thing that went to crap for him, it was kind of like a revelation to Yoda, like, wow, we dealt with this in the wrong way. You have to understand some of the law, because even Count Dooku, for instance, he was a Jedi. And so on, he got tired of the Jedi ways because they wasn't helping people. They wasn't doing the things that they were supposed to be doing.
Hold on now. You going back to Count Dooku.
I'm trying to get you to understand it's both sides.
What episode Count Dooku from?
Let me break it down. Let me break it down for John Moran the way he might understand it. Okay. The Force is like faith. And you got the light side, which is a Jedi, like Martin Luther King Jr. And then you got the dark side, which is like Jerry Falwell. There you go. Right. So you got the light side, dark side. They both using the faith. Some of them use it for good. Some of them use it for evil.
Okay.
But they got the same powers.
And Jedis have specific things to them too. Some of them have telepathy. Some of them have better. Count Dooku was an excellent fighter with the sword. And Mace Windu was actually the most intelligent of all of them. And I mean, so there is like certain things that they all have specialized based upon themselves.
What they trained in, like martial arts.
So wait, wasn't Count Dooku in the first 2-3 films?
You know what? If you don't put some respect on Samuel Jackson.
Wait. Samuel Jackson wasn't Count Dooku, was he?
Lee is the joint. That's my dude right there. Christopher Lee is the best Dracula you'll ever come across, first of all.
Damn right. I agree with that. You're right.
But,
You're right.
What you call it?
All hail Count Dooku.
Hey, You know what? Bye. Let me stop.
John, here's the other thing that you have to realize.
No, but seriously, they get trained in different things, but just like any child, you may have a child better at music. You have a child better at science. You have a child. They all have these innate powers when they start to develop. Like, for instance, nobody could have ever have thought Ahsoka Tano would have been the like fighting the way she fought. She holds her daggone lightsabers backwards, where they sat there and they told her, you don't do that. But that's what she do. And
they told her not to do that.
Yeah, they didn't want her to train that way. But for her, that's what worked. You see what I'm saying? And she still ended up being a great humanitarian. You know what I'm saying? But
Roy wanted to say something. Come on, Roy.
Go ahead.
So this is the whole transition what we were talking about before, in the sense that they are using The Mandalorian to reset these last 3 movies.
I think so, to some degree.
They completely foobarred everything with the last 3 movies.
And that's because of Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, she has to go. Anyway, go ahead.
Wow.
So
Kathleen Kennedy.
Y'all let Uncle Roy talk. Let Uncle Roy.
Go ahead.
So what they're doing now is that they're bringing in these cartoons. That's why I said it's very important for you to look at the cartoon. I didn't even want to watch them at first, but what's happened is they're showing the split. Well, not the split. They're showing the reconnecting of the Jedi and the Sith by not having the two polarizing views of what it's supposed to be. You're finding people in the middle because in those cartoons, Ahsoka Tano meets some folks who they realize is like, well, the Jedi ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing anymore. Mm-hmm. And she's seeing the human side of what's happening, of them becoming too big. And a perfect example, it's funny, I would use similar to what DJ just did. It's like how young people today look at folks like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
They were Jedi in the 60s. They were on the front lines. They were doing everything stuff. But now that people look at them as the Jedi in 2020, they're just a part of the system. They're not doing anything to pull the people up out of what they should be pulling them out of.
And that's what Anakin and them kept talking about. He says what happened is because instead of us being Jedi and looking out over people and helping them, we became soldiers. They ended up working for the Empire without working for the Empire. Basically, that's what they ended up doing. And they ended up, kind of ruining a lot of the Jedi Order all the way down until they finally gave Palpatine all the power he needed to enact Order 66. But at the same time, the thing is that you had Jedi, like for instance, I use Count Dooku because he was someone that was actually conflicted that went to the dark side. He was actually someone that actually felt the Jedi was wrong in how they was handling things with people. And he left being a Jedi because of that. And that's the same thing why Ahsoka, who stayed a good person and so on, but she didn't want to pick up the Jedi mantle anymore because she just
left the Jedi in order to.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not conflicted. That man just wanted power, period.
Well,
he was like the Mitch McConnell of motherfucking Jedi.
And that right. TJ, I would agree with you on that because I think it was the people in the cartoon.
But they helped to push
saw the separation.
Yeah, but Dooku was all in those backroom deals and shit, when they in the terrible
he was the one who started the whole part of it with Boba Fett.
Yeah,
with the starting the clone.
Can we?
So, AKA Sam Jackson cut his motherfucking head off. That's why.
So let's backtrack on that a little bit because I need some background on a couple other things. So Boba Fett, when he fell down into that big giant vagina
the Sarlacc.
in Return of the Jedi, he didn't die. He fought his way out.
Well, that's what's going to be. That's what it is at this point.
When old girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. showed up, and the Mandalorian said, "I thought you were dead." And immediately Boba Fett said, "Yeah, we were both left for dead on Tatooine."
Right. So Boba Fett is a part of the Mandalorian, but he's of a different faction.
No.
And see, here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing I want to point out. is that one thing we're finding that Nicole is talking about is that the Mandalorian was an orphan. He's not like the original Mandalorian. Right. He was an orphan that they took in. But the faction that taught him was rigid. Right. They were like religiously rigid. Never take off, never take off your helmet. This is the way, blah, blah, blah. Nobody is supposed to hold on to this armor or anything Mandalorian unless they're Mandalorian. Blah,
and
blah,
Django,
blah,
but Django and Bubba was still a different portion of that. See, the thing is that they sat there. You have this character that we haven't seen anywhere yet, but the history is that there's Jaster Merrill. Jaster Merrill was part of the Mandalorian stuff. This is before yes, listen. Jaster Merrill was a Mandalorian that saved Jango Fett from certain death when they came and killed his family. Okay, so the Mandalorians is big on bringing people in, people like that are orphans and stuff. You don't have to be born a Mandalorian. You can be adopted into the Mandalorian. It's just which faction you end up being in. Because Bo-Katan was in a certain faction of a Mandalorian as well.
Bo-Katan, that was Starbuck, right?
It's like the fruit of Islam.
That was Starbuck. Okay.
But what I'm trying to explain is that because of that, they have different areas. But when they, in the original first 3 episodes, Boba Fett, I mean, he was supposed to be dead. The Mandalorian brought him back. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for the Mandalorian, we'd all still think he was dead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what they're doing is they're kind of retuning a lot of the series. And a lot, because remember in the cartoons, in the animated thing, they even have a guy sitting there saying Boba Fett was no more than a bounty hunter. And he was not a Mandalorian.
Which he was just a bounty hunter.
But he was a Mandalorian by being the quote unquote son of a foundling. You see what I'm saying? And so on.
Exactly.
And that's why they had to do that explanation in the show on the last episode.
So
go ahead.
So during that fight scene with the stormtroopers, when they saw him, they panicked. Because isn't he supposed to be the original clones of the stormtroopers?
No, they didn't panic until that motherfucker shot some rockets out his knee.
Django was the template for
before he put his uniform, his armor back on. When he hit that first stormtrooper, and that stormtrooper looked at him like, what the hell you doing here? He started killing people. That's when they started like, oh shit, he's supposed to be dead.
I gotta go back again.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get that part, per se.
The way
I didn't get that.
This works. Jango Fett was the original clone.
Right.
Jango Fett is the Mandalorian. He was a foundling that the person that Nicole just named found and brought him into the Mandalorian.
And because he was so successful.
Right. And then remember in episode 2, Sam Jackson went at your boy's head off. That was Jango Fett.
Yes.
Right.
His son was a direct clone from him.
Right. He was not his child. He was actually a clone of him.
When they started the clone army, he asked the Kaminoans, those long people that you saw that was doing the cloning, he asked them to give him one of the clones unaltered. Hey, I know my Star Wars, okay? One unaltered clone that he wanted to raise as a son. And so, and those tall tree-looking people that was in that in the Kaminoans there that was doing the cloning, they didn't care. They just wanted to make money. But Count Dooku was part of that, and so was Palpatine, because they put those chips in their head. Anyway, go ahead.
So what's happening with like I said, the Mandalorian?
Yeah, John.
They're using it to reset it. And the other piece that we're missing about this is that the dark saber was actually created by the Jedi. It was back in the thing, and it was told. I forget which one of the episodes they explained it in. But the dark saber
was a Mandalorian.
Yeah, they actually created that sword, the saber, and whoever has it was in control of the Mandalorian culture. Like they were the king or the ruler. I won't say king because Bo-Katan wants it now. But she would be the ruler. They had it. So after the events of what happened, I guess that would be Return of the Jedi. Somewhere in between that part of the story, the Darksaber got lost. And then the Mandalorian faction started splitting again.
They lost a black sword?
Yeah. And so now that's what the key is.
You never lose a black sword.
They were saying, remember, they're building this up to a point where they were talking about the fact that the Mandalorians were just as powerful as Jedi. And that, because remember, they said it before. They were in a battle with the Jedi.
Right. They said they were like the enemies.
So it's not like they were not like stormtroopers.
Okay. Well, everything you all have told me is just gone over my head. So okay. So the show is pretty to look at. Can I say that?
I'll tell you one thing that you'll love is the weapon that Boba Fett was kicking the stormtroopers' ass with, basically like hitting their armor like it was
the stick.
That was the same. That was the very same weapon that Han Solo picked up when he was blind.
Yeah.
And Chewie, he was like, "What? Boba Fett is where?" And he hit him in the back and knocked him into that creature. That was what he was.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So now that we
just so you do know, that is the very same weapon that the Sand People carry around.
Right.
Okay, because I knew it looked familiar. Okay. So I have a slightly more information on the Mandalorian. I still say that Baby Gugu is the devil and he eats babies. So that's my opinion.
So can I got a question before you
go ahead, Percy.
So as we see how the story is going, we know that the Mandalorian is going to save him. He's going to bring him back. He's going to probably bring him back to the planet. Who you think is the Jedi that's going to pick him up to train him?
I got so many different ideas of that. I mean, put it this way, just so I could just throw a wild card out. Can I throw a wild card out there? Remember when Obi-Wan was trying to get some information about the whole cloning army and different things like that, and he went to the library? There's a lady, the librarian is called Jocasta Nu. Okay, Jocasta Nu was that old lady that he was talking about. She is a Jedi master. She looked like somebody's grandma, but she is a Jedi master. Okay. My wild card would be possibly she could have saved little baby Yoda, Grogu, and so on like that, because that would put them at the temple at the same time. Remember, it has to be someone that would be alive and at the temple at the same time, that in regards to like teaching him and so on. She could very well, if you read Legends or canon, the story is different, but it could very well be that maybe she might still be around and maybe she may be the person. But a lot of people is trying to get Mace Windu to come back to life. They trying to bring him back.
I thought it might be Luke, to be honest with you.
Luke could be, because he could be.
Because they said Luke left to start the academy again. Luke left to go back to start the academy.
Started, yeah. But Jocasta Nu actually helped him with starting the academy. So that's why I called it a wild card, because you never know. She may still be alive for we know.
That's why I hated what they did with the last three stories. They completely destroyed the whole mythos of it.
Yeah, they did do a lot of
They just did it badly.
That's because Kathleen Kennedy wanted to make this a girl power movie, and it just was like, leave it Star Wars.
Okay.
You know what? She could have made.
She's one of the producers. She's one of the producers.
She's one of the producers. Okay.
It could have been still a girl power thing. If all they had to do was follow the storyline of the Jedi twins and then the other child, because there are two other children actually. Because okay, here's where the challenge is if you look at what happened. Remember, the Jedi were not about people having relationships, no attachment. That's the way that they continued to build it. That's where the Jedi went awry, basically, is what we'll say. They almost turned themselves into Catholic priests. So
wow.
What they did, if you heard of or read any of the stories that came after that,
talk about the dark side.
One of the things that Luke he moved away from them with, because not only did Leia and Han Solo they had another child that they named Anakin. They had a set of twins, and then they had another child.
Oh, you talking about the books? You talking about the books? Oh.
And Luke even had a child as the Jedi Master. So it's like, now they're saying that, okay, it's not a hindrance for you to have these connections. And that's where the storyline went. If they would have just stayed on that premise, because that was what caused the separation in the first place. It's just like a lot of, like DJ, it's like a lot of religions. If they peel off because of small little details that one person didn't agree with. So they're like, well, I'm going to go start my own church. And stuff.
Just
and that's what they did.
Two things real quick. I just rewatched the fight, and at no point did any of the stormtroopers recognize Boba Fett before he put.
I didn't think I saw it. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, before he put that stick up there.
I'm sorry, it must be a Percyism, but I swore
it's a Percyism. No, I just watched the whole thing.
He took that pole and they looked at him like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, no, he smacked the hell out of him with that pole, and then he looked at the Mandalorian ship as like, my armor's in there.
Right, my armor's in there. He went
and then he went and got the armor, but no stormtrooper even recognized him until he went. When went out there and he shot rockets from his knees, them punk ass stormtroopers was like, "Fuck this," and they ran away. Oh, the other thing
actually, if you saw a lot of people didn't know about those knee rockets either. And if you ever looked up his whole Mandalorian armor, which really wasn't even originally Beskar, it was a different metal that the armor was. It wasn't until recently that the Beskar became like that thing. You know what I'm saying, and stuff. But
isn't it funny that we've out the grumpy old nerd?
And he wanted to talk about Star Trek too.
I was yeah. This is going down a whole different path. So okay, yeah, I have nothing to add. Go ahead.
Hey, I own this hat for a reason. Okay.
I see. You are the Star Wars historian. No, I just find it Well, okay. Here's my issue with Star Wars now and with Star Trek now as well. There are so many different. Okay. Don't tell nobody. I gotta come out this.
You wondering when you was gonna do it.
There are so many different properties out there now that go so many different ways.
Yes, you're right.
And I think what has to be done is there needs to be some kind of organization or reorganization within this particular brand, because
I think you got people. I think I agree with Uncle Roy.
Well, hold on, because what happens is, what did Roy do? Roy referenced the books, which most of us have not read. I know that I haven't, as a peripheral Star Wars fan, I haven't read the books. I've just watched the films. I've seen some of the other TV shows, but The Mandalorian is actually the only TV show that's kept my attention.
I got to watch the animated series now.
The animated series does a lot of back and homework. See, the only difference, though, I will admit, is because where I think there is a lot of breakup, and you have to recognize it when you see it, is whether it's part of Legends or part of canon. So if it's part of Legends, you may get all these different stories, because Luke Skywalker's story even shows he got married and so on like that. But
in some of the cartoons, Luke Skywalker got married.
No. I'm just saying the cartoons, though, kind of what they're doing is they kind of mesh. When you look at the Clone Wars and Rebels, you have kind of both in a way. So it's almost like right now, I think what they're doing with the Mandalorian, because even with pronouncing Jango Fett, and Boba Fett as a Mandalorian, that's actually just trying to make it clear for fans, so to speak, because even prior to that moment, you had half people saying he wasn't a Mandalorian and half of people saying he was. So it just really depends on what it is that you were going with, and that's why they had to do that bit of fan service. So they I think they're trying to mesh it a little bit better through the Mandalorian by bringing in some of these things from canon and lore.
Okay, because it's sounded like a jumbled mess right now. Because again, the people. Well, and I hate to keep. It seems like we bring this up every week, but what Marvel did was that they took a property that had so many different branches going so many different directions and shoehorned it in so that people who weren't necessarily fans of the original property felt that this was their own.
Right.
Kind of like, well, that's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is that with the Mandalorian, it's like they're bringing in a lot of aspects from different things. And, and I understand what you and Roy are saying, Nicole, and that this is their effort to shoehorn stuff in. But it's going to take a while because there is so much. And like you said, a lot of what's out there now isn't canon. A lot of what at one point was considered canon no longer can be considered canon. So it's, you know, there's that delicate balance of, okay, you got Baby Goo, who is never mentioned. So now he's never mentioned beyond what we're seeing now. So how does Baby Goo fit into the general aspect of going forward? The whole Star Wars, Uncle Roy raising his hand. Come on.
Man, her comment just went off. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Davis was the last name. I guess she's a friend of somebody's. Okay, she was talking about Ahsoka Tano. I want to get you guys' opinions on why she said that. She said she can't teach him. And she said, just like Anakin, but why do you all think that Ahsoka said she couldn't teach him?
Because that would stop the plot right there. They need to keep the plot moving.
No, you know what? See, that's just fucked up.
No.
She said,
I agree with John.
No, well, okay, if you want to be, you know, callous about it, yeah, but I mean, she specifically said that at this moment, like you just admitted that this is a fork in the road for them, and so she said she can't teach him right now because right now, you know, he
has an attachment. He has an attachment to the Mandalorian.
Right.
And because and she specifically says it, she said, I've seen what attachments can do to a regular grown Jedi. And she was talking about Anakin Skywalker because she was his Padawan. And she watched this man grow into Anakin being a Jedi master just to turn around and become Darth Vader. And eventually she ended up having to fight him. So
talk about killing little babies.
You know what I'm saying? So she knows. And the thing is, and the reason why she said that also, because if you think back to episode, I'm going to say 2 or 3, when Mace Windu, and even episode 1, Mace Windu sat there and said, when they brought Anakin Skywalker, he said he is too old. He has formed an attachment to his mother. And so on like that, we get them as babes. When they get these kids, they get them little, real young. And
so it's too late. So Baby Goo is going to be evil, is what you're telling me.
No, it's not too late.
That's the fork in the road. That is why she said that, because at this point, for her to try to teach him, she does not want to teach this child the Jedi ways just to turn around and have him turn to the dark side.
But
so
hold
she
on.
doesn't know how that is going to formulate.
But hold on now, you're talking about the fact that Baby Goo has not formed an opinion either way, whether he wants to go towards the light or go towards the dark. So why not keep the Mandalorian there with her while she trains Goo wherever she is right there? That
was why she told him to go to that world. That was what she said. She said when he gets there to that planet, to Typhon, he would sit on the Jedi seeing rock, and he would make the determination as to whether or not he wanted to reach out to a Jedi or sit there and not do anything, basically. So apparently he had remember, he's 50 years old, so there is something in him that's formulating decisions and so on. And
she said there was a lot of fear. She said something happened and something happened to this, and there's a lot of fear. But at the same time, See, the Mandalorian fucked up like John calling him Goo and shit because the reason he couldn't get that through that force field to the kid because he kept calling him the kid. Hey, kid, instead of calling him by his name. I think if he would have he would have called him by his name, the kid might have responded, but he kept calling him the kid.
I don't know if that really meant anything. I'm not sure if that.
I think it would have.
Remember in the beginning, he wouldn't. In the beginning, he was actually teasing him, calling him by his name. He was playing with it. He was playing with the ball. He called his name. He look up, and he did all. He started laughing.
But see, that's like you looking at the dog, sitting there saying things like, Fido, and you see the dog turn around and you get excited because he heard you. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was just kind of like a father-son moment, but I didn't get that it was his name.
No, it's like Eddie Murphy said, Coco, where the fuck is he going? The dog doesn't know his,
But I think we got to see whether Grogu is going to be, kind of good or bad or in between.
The show is called The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is going to save him. The Mandalorian is going to be the thing that pulls him back to the light side.
I don't think it's even going to be an issue with him going to the dark or the light side. I think because remember, Moff Gideon is not trying to train him. They're trying to take his blood.
Absolutely.
They're trying. They're basically trying to utilize this kid. And now let's quantify something too, because we keep saying he's 50 years old. But if his species can live to 900 years old, 50, he might as well be 3.
But he was teachable. You see what I'm saying? So
that's fine. But that's probably because I'm expecting them to say that Yoda's and Grogu's race is extra sensitive to the Force.
Absolutely, they always have
dealing
been.
with that. Yeah. And so at very young ages, they can do things. I don't think she wanted to train him because she wasn't a mess. She wasn't a master.
She wasn't a master. Well, she was cutting them down and cutting trees and she was a master.
Right. She never made it to the Jedi Master level.
Right. So
I'm gonna go to the last.
That was by choice.
I'm gonna go to the last dragon.
She couldn't.
She looks like a master to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's my question. What were those flying stormtroopers at the end of the episode that came and got
those? Are dark troopers.
Oh, those are
That's something new.
That's new?
Yes.
Yeah, that was from Breaking Bad. That was Gus's people came through there.
So
that was straight Iron Man. That's why Robert Rodriguez was in this thing, man.
So why did they not use those to fight Boba Fett in the first place? Why did they send the stormtroopers?
Because they was the end game. Think about it. If you're a general, you want to first send out the people you can find expendable. You see what I'm saying? Just go ahead. Right.
But if I have
out there, try to get the kid, blah blah blah. But that didn't work. So Moff Gideon is smart. Don't cut him down yet. Because what he did,
the stormtroopers were never supposed to get the kid. They were supposed to be a distraction, which they were.
And what he did is he sent the dark troopers because for instance, think about it like this. The question arose, why didn't they shoot down Slave One? Well, guess what? Moff Gideon he's a general in his own army right now. He is sitting there. He has to do the end game. That's why I don't care about who else is out there. Get the damn kid and let's get going.
But here's my thing. Mandalorians are supposed to be on a level of Jedi in terms of being tough and being
not force sensitive though. Jedi is different.
But they're like in terms of being dangerous, they're on the same level as Jedi, right?
To some degree.
They're dangerous,
They can be.
They get stepped away from that. That's part of it.
Okay, so you've got
the Mandalorians are like the Batman of Star Wars. They got the gadgets. They got the utility belts.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so if you got these dark troopers, why not send them to, because whatever we all know that if you leave the hero alive, then he'll come back and get you. So when you got him on the ropes, why not kill him there? Why didn't he just send the dark troopers in there to kill him, kill the Fett, and kill Ming-Na, kill Mulan? So you got Mulan, you got Boba Fett, and you got Mando. Kill them all, send the dark troopers, kill them all, and get the baby leave.
Now you know perfectly damn well that is the last episode of this whole damn series. When he goes on that shit to save baby Goo Goo Gaga.
And it could be an end game too now.
Right. And when he goes, he's gonna have to fight them. And we're gonna find out who's gonna win.
Right.
Most likely it's gonna be him, or he's gonna be damn near dead.
But what we're talking about Muff Diver being such a great general, why not just have
Muff
Diver? Because
his goal isn't to kill them. His goal is just to get the child.
Right.
He's a child because he needs his
I get that, but you're looking at the entire end game. DeLorean is his bodyguard, so his bodyguard is going to dog. So that's like the age-old question: why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? Because no matter what, the Joker will always come back. No matter how many times you stop him, the Joker will come back. But if Muff Diver has the baby, and I've got Mandalorian there, kill him.
But this is totally different. His mission is to give him to a Jedi. He has not done that yet. So at the end game is I guess this is a spoiler. You know he's gonna win. He's gonna get the baby back. He's gonna come back to the planet. He's gonna put that baby on that rock, and some Jedi's gonna show up. I think it's Luke Skywalker.
It could be, or Ezra.
And throw everything off, and then that's gonna be the end of that storyline with the Mandalorian. And then then when they come back in season 3, is something they're gonna start a whole new different storyline.
And remember, this is owned by Disney now, so there's always got to be a cuddly something in the movie. There's got to be something cuddly.
Right. So now it might be what's his name? What's the character everybody can't stand? They probably try to bring.
I'm about to say, y'all about to say, Percy, don't go there. Don't go there.
You never know.
You never know. That what is it? Step and Fetch It gonna come get the kid and shit.
You never know. You never know. You never know he'll show up.
Step and Fetch It. Jar Jar Binks is gonna.
You know what?
It's my show. No, you never know.
And with that, we come out of that particular rabbit hole. We are out of time for today. And I knew that this would take up this whole conversation.
No, you did. You want to talk about Star Trek?
No.
Star Trek.
Look, we fine. We have another day where we talk about Star Trek because Sequoia Martin Green deserves an hour, just being the fabulous actress that she is.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you all for joining us today. Anthony Nicole, thank you. Huh? No. This was entirely too much. I've got too much information now, so I have to go home and start watching Rebels and
why don't you write your paper and let me grade it? That's all you have to do.
That's right. I've got homework coming. So, Angie Nicole, is there anything you wanted to say or sell before we leave?
Just that this is the way, my friend. This is the way.
I don't know. Okay. Uncle Percy, what you got?
Well, we lost a dolphin last week.
Yeah.
So from cancer, from colon cancer.
Hold up. I'm on Facebook. Who?
Henry Gray.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We lost him last week. That's kind of why I'm wearing this shirt. Class of '87. Just every old grumpy man out there, please go get checked. Please go get checked. I get checked every year. I don't like that finger up my butt, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do. As long as he don't say, "Does this feel good?" and I say yes, then we got a problem. Otherwise, that just
I'm trying to stay serious here.
Suddenly, Uncle Percy became Chef Aquarius.
Aquarius for a second there. Was it a black saber or a dark saber?
It was black.
It was a black saber.
Black saber.
Every year, go get that black saber.
You guys can see over there, but I have my own dark saber over there. I bought a dark saber.
Yeah, but please, seriously though.
Wait a minute, Auntie Nicole. Let's not talk about your dark sabers.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious. Of the Mandalorian way.
Well, there is a way.
This is the way.
Uncle DJ, what you got?
I got a open bottle of Jack. I got a 12-pack of Miller High Life.
Oh man.
Okay, that's an ad for Alcoholics Anonymous. Uncle
And
DJ,
I got a picture of Rosario Dawson behind me, so I think I'm covered for the night.
Oh
my word.
Hey, before we go, I got a question. Do you think she's like the new Samuel L. Jackson? Because she's in everything. Anything good?
Oh, dude. So she showed up in Kids at 15 years old. Rosario Dawson is the
she's
female.
been steady working.
She's she's everything. She's everything.
Yeah.
Because
I just can't wait until she let Cory Booker's ass go. That's all.
Hey. Okay. Uncle Roy, what you selling today?
Deuces.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all letting me on the show today.
Oh, Auntie Nicole, it's always
glad you showed up.
Always
That's
a pleasure,
awesome.
Auntie Nicole. As always, if you've been rocking with us from the beginning, thank you. We appreciate you. Please continue to come back for more if you're new to the program. We have tomfoolery like this every week, Wednesdays at 8:30, 7:30 Central here on Facebook Live and on the Jericho Broadcast Network. This is Uncle John for Uncle Percy, Uncle DJ, Auntie Nicole, and Uncle Roy. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.